Hi, my name is Tyler Jones, and for my first video presentation, I'm going to talk about different types of cyborgs and the conflicts they face. We'll also look at how cyborgs can be used to analyze racial differences. My primary sources are the cyborgs featured in Star Trek, Data and the Borg, and also the film AI Artificial Intelligence. As a secondary source, I found an article titled AI Imagining a Multiracial Future. This was written by Leilani Nishime and was featured in Cinema Journal in 2005. We are all familiar with the moral and social conflicts that arise with the cyborg presence. In the Star Trek episode Measure of a Man, we follow Data through a court trial to determine his ultimate right as a human or a cyborg. Data looks human and he socially interacts with humans just as any other human would, but in the opening scene we see how he could not understand why anyone would bet with the lesser hand. His capabilities as a machine allowed him to understand the mathematical formula, that he understood that he had a good hand, but obviously the other player had to have had a better hand to be betting. He didn't understand the reality or intuition or the poker face put on by the other player that allowed him to win. And he was left there wondering why this happened until it was explained to him. He goes on, Data understands that he is a machine. When asked why don't all other human crew members have cyborg implants, he says that's simple. He is not a human. That's why he has them. He is a machine. He understands that. He knows that. But he also wants to remain special and unique. And he doesn't want to be lost due to the experiments that want to be performed on him. So he goes through the court trial, and in the end, they grant him human rights to set a precedent for him and any other future cyborgs to come aboard the fleet. In AI, we are introduced to cyborgs that have even more capabilities, the capability to love, feel emotions, and pain. This is in stark contrast to the ones we have seen before. Yes, Data was intimate with someone, but it really wasn't a main point in this episode, and that's why I ended up looking at this AI movie that I had never seen before, and I'm really glad I did. It's a great movie, and we'll discuss more about it. The article, as my secondary source, offers various movies that cyborgs have featured in, and AI was one of them. The article breaks down cyborgs into 3 different categories or types: good, bad, and mulatto cyborgs. And it also tries to map each one of these categories to different racial ideas or beliefs held today. The article mentions how racial ideas aren't as present in films today, but cyborgs offer a way for us to place those ideas on cyborgs and sort of get away from actually directly, explicitly talking about black-white race relations. The article states that there was an increase in cyborg cinema popularity in the early 2000s. This increase coincides with the increase in acceptance of mixed-race relationships and offspring. We also had a shift from having just robots featured in cinema to full-fledged cyborgs with much more advanced capabilities and human characteristics. With these advances in technology, humans are fascinated and curious about the possibility of these cyborgs becoming a reality. The definition of artificial intelligence is the theory and development of computer systems that are able to perform tasks that otherwise and normally require human intelligence, such as visual perception, speech recognition, decision making, and translation between languages. The AI and the software and algorithms behind it used to run cyborgs make no mention of having the capability of learning, feeling emotions, pain, or even loving. In AI, we are introduced to a cyborg with these advanced human capabilities. So let's first take a look at the 3 different types of cyborgs and their differences. The most common type of cyborg depicted in cinema is the bad cyborg. A prime example of this type is the Terminator. He is sent back in time, hardwired to execute one specific human. He has biological human features. He has flesh, hair, he sweats, and has bad breath. Um, but these are all just designed for him to pass as a human. Beneath all that, he is 100% machine and has no desire to turn into a human. The Terminator would be similar to the walkers that we have seen in The Walking Dead, and the idea that audiences recoil from the walkers, or the idea of cyborgs taking over and having complete machine domination. The same with the Borgs. They think and act as one, and their main goal as a race is to incorporate as many other species as possible. They seek to suppress humans, and this leads us to be scared and afraid, and this represents, the same type of natural disasters and terrorist attacks that the zombies maybe in the apocalyptic scenarios that The Walking Dead represent. The Borg would be similar to maybe Hitler or the KKK or other racist supremacy groups in their mission to suppress other species, same as they want to suppress humans as the Borg. The Terminator, he was cold and heartless, was hardwired to kill Sarah Connor and would stop at nothing. It was violent, he had no emotions, and a machine race like this can corrupt the supposed purity of whiteness or humanness throughout the world. And it can be viewed as a loss to a racial separatist, neither the far left or right side, to have another race take over the human race. As the Terminator, like I said, he doesn't want to be human. He understands you can only be part of one race or the other. The audience understands no matter how human the cyborgs may seem, they're actually machines in the Terminator and the Star Trek Borg. They present an illusion, but beneath there is nothing but machine. Now we'll look at the next category, which shows what happens when the human-machine lines are blurred. Good cyborgs, like Data, are both more progressive and disturbing. They radically destabilize the human-machine dichotomy. In movies and TV shows that they are featured in, presumes that the self is outside of the body. Their biology is irrelevant, and this flattens racial differences. Good cyborgs do not want to eliminate humans, but they would rather be human. Unfortunately, being neither, they are doomed to an eternal search for belonging. Good cyborgs are actually defined as androids or entirely synthetic beings. Here I would like to show you a clip introducing David, the main protagonist in AI artificial intelligence.
My mommy doesn't hate me because I'm special and unique. Because there's never been anyone like me before, ever.
Mommy loves Martin because he is real, and when I am real, Mommy's going to read to me and tuck me in my bed and sing to me and listen to what I say, and she will cuddle with me
and tell me every day 100 times a day that she loves me.
David is an 8-year-old android boy capable of learning and loving. He has an unending love for who he is imprinted on, his mom, Monica. As shown, David states that his mom doesn't hate him because he is special and unique, but he also desires to become real and gain her love, and also in turn losing his special uniqueness. AI is both a children's film where they can follow a boy on a wild adventure and think of him as a special toy, or a complex, cold adult film. David is on a mission to find the Blue Fairy, which he was introduced to while reading Pinocchio with his real brother, in hopes of becoming a real boy. The Blue Fairy is part of a great human flaw, wanting what we can't have. David is trapped in circular thinking. He wants to be real, but he also wants to be special and unique. Before David, robots didn't dream or desire any of these things, but he set out to make a fairy tale real, inspired by the love for his mother. His creators use this as a test to see where his self-motivation would take him. Both Data and David think they are special. Data refuses testing because he is so special, his loss would be detrimental to his creators' work and what they have achieved so far. When David is replicated, he simply couldn't handle the implications. David believes being human is real and pursues that to his last frame. David and all sentient creatures are trapped in cycles, forever dissatisfied, forever obsessed, and forced to share a common fate of intended for all intelligences, artificial or not. If race is biological, a matter of hair and skin, then when David more closely resembles a human, he should be considered human then. This presents the idea of racial self-hatred, where maybe one race wants to be special and unique outside of someone else, and their own race, and once they leave that race, then they're going to be part of another race where they're no longer special and unique, and go back to the circular frame of thinking, and chasing the elusive blue fairy that we can't have. Finally, let's discuss the third category of cyborgs, mulattoes. Mulattoes, like good cyborgs, reside in the chaotic spaces between organic and artificial. However, mulattoes have their romanticism and nostalgia removed. An example of this category is RoboCop. I went and watched this film, and RoboCop, or Murphy, was a human cop that was killed in action and brought back and transformed into a cyborg. This dismantles the boundaries between inorganic and organic existence. He remains tied to whatever particular existence he is in. So once he becomes a cyborg, he fully ends up accepting that. He has no fragmented memories and no nostalgia to drive him back to his humanity. There is no battle between his mechanical self and his true human self. In the end, he accepts his new form, a cyborg, and states his name as Human Murphy, but he understands and accepts that he is now a cyborg. This film escapes the trap of defining mixed race as the corruption of once pure and unadulterated races, nor does it give privilege to human white identity. In conclusion, we identified 3 different subsets of cyborgs: good, bad, and mulatto. I don't entirely agree with the arguments presented in this article. I feel like she is just trying to place racial meaning behind the cyborgs that isn't there. I would like to think that the racially charged films of the past have fallen out of favor simply because the conversation has ended. Some arguments are presented that ties each category to a racial idea, but I believe race could have been left out of it, and just identifying the different types of cyborgs and their different conflicts and implications would suffice. I would rather focus on the rise of a new machine race and its implications for humans as a whole, rather than continue to focus on current race relations. Hope we can move past that and look towards the future. I found it hard to accept the capabilities shown in each movie now, but in the future, hopefully we will be somewhere close to that. I don't believe we are currently anywhere close with trying to replicate an android such as David with current technology today. However, recent advances have shown that we may be getting closer. They have now created prosthetics that completely mimic human behavior. Some featured a guy with pants on and 2 prosthetics where nobody had any idea he was wearing prosthetics. He was able to run upstairs, perfectly mimic humans. Also, one of the greatest breakthroughs of 2014 was installing a prosthetic arm to a veteran that was amputated, and they actually remapped the nerves in his brain, so he is able to just think and control, open his hand, move his arm, and do all those types of things that the cyborgs are able to do, controlled by a computer, and such as David and Terminator. But we'll see those advances and see where they take us in the future. Even with these advances, we must be careful to not fall victim of the blue fairy ourselves, and that trap and wish for things that we can't have. Who knows if artificial intelligence will ever be advanced enough in our lifetime or ever. But we will see where technology takes us and what cyborgs will end up meaning to us as a human race. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to your questions and comments.